Okay, we have two proclamations tonight. One is for our municipal clerk, who is not here tonight. So what we'll do is I will read it, and our stand-in Nancy Murray is going to take the credit. And I'm going to ask us to stand and give a standing ovation so that Nancy can go back to April and Claudio, who does a fantastic job, and tell her what she missed. She missed a standing ovation, okay? Okay. Municipal Clerks Week, May 6th to 12th, 2018. Whereas the Office of the Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and vital part of a local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the Office of the Municipal Clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the Office of the Municipal Clerk provides a professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels. And whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. Whereas the municipal clerk continually strives to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the municipal clerk. Now, therefore, the mayor and council of the borough of Belmar do recognize the week of May 6th through May 12th, 2018 as Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our municipal clerk, April Claudio, who's not here, and to all municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. Could we give April a standing ovation here? Thank you very much, Nancy. You will. We might get a smile out of it. The next proclamation is Building Safety Month for the month of May 2018. Whereas the Borough of Belmar, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey is committed to recognizing our growth and strength depends on the safety and economic value of the homes, buildings, and infrastructure that serves our citizens both in everyday life and in times of natural disaster. And whereas our confidence in the structural integrity of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safety construction of the buildings. And whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a U.S.-based organization that brings together local, state, and federal officials that are experts in the built environment to create and implement the highest quality codes to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, work, worship, and play. Whereas our nation benefits economically and technologically from using the international codes that are developed by national voluntary consensus codes and standards developing organizations, our government is able to avoid the high cost and complexity of developing and maintaining these codes, which are the most widely adopted building safety and fire prevention codes in the nation. These modern building codes include safeguards to protect the public from natural disasters such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildland fires, floods, and earthquakes. Whereas the Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about the critical role of our community's largely unknown guardians of public safety, our local code officials who assure us of safe, efficient, and livable buildings that are essential to keep America great. Whereas Building Codes Save Lives, the theme for Building Safety Month 2018, encourages all Americans to raise awareness of the importance of building safe and resilient construction, fire prevention, disaster mitigation, and new technologies in the construction industry. Building Safety Month 2018 encourages appropriate steps everyone can take to ensure that places where we live, learn, work, worship, and play are safe, and recognizes that countless lives have been saved due to the implementation of safety codes by local and state agencies. And whereas each year, in observance of Building Safety Month, Americans are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential services provided to all of us by local and state building departments, fire prevention bureaus, and federal agencies in protecting lives and property. Now, therefore, the Mayor and Council of Borough of Belmar, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2018 as Building Safety Month. Very good? We're good? Anything else? You want to read it again? Yeah. Well, I've got a drink. Mouth. Okay. We moved to the workshop discussion, and first up is Jersey Shore Hospital's Hope Tower, which you might have seen in the newspaper recently. Good job, fellas. And Donna. I looked up, I saw Donna sitting there, but she was only there when I started reading that proclamation. That was about a week ago. So could you come up, introduce yourself? And
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members and public. My name is Doug Campbell. I'm the Senior Manager of Operations at Jersey Shore University Medical Center, and we appreciate the few minutes to go over the new Hope Tower. My voice tends to resonate, so if you'd like to go over by the board.
good, because our microphones don't work.
I believe this. That technology, right? So folks, what we'd like to do is just introduce to you the new Hope Tower that we have. It's built adjacent to Jersey Shore University Medical Center. I think you can see it from here. And it's a 10-story building that occupies the space next to it. We have 1,583 car parking garage, which we so badly needed. If you've ever come tried to get onto our campus, it's much easier, and access to healthcare is much better as a result of that. This Hope Tower will bring sophisticated services to our community, our county, as well as to our state. They're, again, cutting-edge services that we'll be able to provide. On the floors, we have enhanced imaging, 2 new LINACs. These are radiation therapy services that you can get here right up the street. We also have enhanced imaging services through MRIs and CTs. On the second floor, we have an expanded infusion center. We currently have 11 to 12 bays right now for outpatient chemotherapy and infusion. That number will go to 33. So we'll be able to take care of our community even better. I hope nobody in here or anywhere has or has to use it, but if you do, it's a service that's right there. It's a beautiful setting, etc. And we have an image of that right there. And again, we used information from our patients, our physicians, and our other providers to listen to them to build this so it's comfortable for all folks that are involved. In addition to that, we have physician practices that will occupy floors 4, 5, 6, and 7. Those physician practices are right now out into the community. We'll be able to consolidate them. We have a lot of interaction with that process. Referrals can be made from one clinic to the next or one service to the next, all in one building, all in one stop. On the 9th floor, we have the state-of-the-art simulation center. As you know, we're a university medical center. We have over 100 residents. We're training. We've just signed with Hackensack Meridian Health, the Hackensack Meridian Health School of Medicine. And we'll be able to do teaching. And we'll be able to do teaching here at the Jersey Shore campus through this 9,000 square foot simulation center. We'll be able to simulate operating rooms, critical care units, med-surg, and allied health. We'll be able to go through a didactic program to be able to watch what happened, make the providers better in their procedures, etc., with less mistakes, make them more efficient. And that's all right here, just a few miles up the road. In addition to that, on the 10th floor, we have a conference center. And we have an enhanced auditorium that is going to be Wi-Fi connected, and we'll be able to use that connection to Seton Hall to further enhance our educational capabilities for our residents and for our physicians and for our nurses as well. In addition to that, we have 3 additional conference rooms. We have an outside terrace that has a beautiful view of, Ocean Grove. We can see Belmar from the south, Shark River Inlet, and we also have community rooms that will be available for education. So if we have an oncology service, we have OB service, we can have those community sessions right there in the Hope Tower. I'd be glad to answer any particular questions. Donna, I'm not sure I cover all of it in that sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think the important thing to note is that the tower is an outpatient building. So there's no patient beds or inpatient services in the tower. It is a building that'll open in the morning, provide services till early evening, and then close for the night. So everything is outpatient based. And the cancer center is actually the first 2 floors, an entirely new cancer center, which is the infusion area on our 2nd floor has been carefully designed to really maximize the front view of the building, the gardens. It's a pleasant, relaxing area for the patients. It's set up with pods, so the nurses have a constant clear view and interaction with all of the patients in that unit. And as Doug had said, we currently have 13 chairs in our current infusion area.
We have 11 active, 12 total, we'll
Yep.
go to 33.
And we're going to 33. So that convenience for patients to accommodate their scheduling needs, right now it's a little bit tougher in the space, so this gives a lot more access and convenience to our community members who might need those services.
And part of the overall sophistication of the building, we'll also have GPS wayfinding. So you'll be able to click on, like you do in your car right now, you'll be able to do it in the building, and that little blue arrow will take you where you need to go, which will be a much enhancement in patient satisfaction process for all of our patrons that come to use it.
You can get lost in a hospital for hours.
Trying to eliminate that.
I have one question.
Please, if there's any questions.
It's
you'd
very
like to-
technologically advanced.
You said that well.
The name, Hope, is it because of hope, or is it actually a surname named after someone?
It is for cancer care process. And this is what the building was built for, our cancer program, and it's for hope in that process.
Thank you.
Very good
Just
question.
curious.
Thank you.
Do
Any
you
other
perform
questions?
surgeries in this building, or was that for the other part of the hospital?
This is strictly outpatient services, doctor's visits. You'll be able to come in and get imaging, blood work done. There will be no overnight sleeping or no overnight care there. All the surgical procedures, interventional procedures will all be done at the main hospital. This is all the prep work that you'll be able to get to simplify it. You get the prep work done there, and you go over to the hospital for procedure. You don't have to go to New York, you don't have to go to Philadelphia. You can get that sophisticated care right here.
Is the tower physically connected to the main part of the hospital?
It is not yet.
Okay.
We have to go through some DOT requirements regarding roadway improvements before
Sure.
that connection will be done. It's about 2 to 3 years out, but we are working towards that goal of being able to connect the building with these connectors.
Okay.
And on stage, if you will, for the guests and patients, and then off stage for support and for team members.
Do you know approximately the number of employees? It's
Approximately 812 will be.
like new positions?
Not all new, a lot will be brought in from outside areas. If you're familiar with our campus, we have Davis Avenue, which is our pediatric building. Most of those services will move in. So we're not adding staff. Overall, we're adding about 50 new positions to support the building. Most are coming in from the existing practices and or services that we have. We expect to open sometime in early June. We're finalizing a few things right now with our friends at the state regarding some waivers and some road improvements that we're making. So coming soon, and we're really excited about it, and we're really proud of it as well, and it's going to be able to serve our community quite well for many, many years. Yes?
Does this mean that the local oncology centers will be closing their doors to infusion? Or will they continue to do infusions at the doctor's locations?
If the doctors choose to bring their practice there, we'll be doing that there in a joint effort with them. There are a few that are interested at this point in time. I won't go into details on that, but the hospital currently has a service that we're providing. All that practice will go over there as well.
Could you enumerate the advantages to going to your center versus the doctor's? Because Dave mentioned the time in the hospital. I've been one of those unfortunate ones that went through chemo, but I'd go in, get blood drawn, and immediately be set up for chemo. And I just can't envision that happening in a hospital setting.
Absolutely. If down at this hallway would be where your blood work is done, processed in the lab on the second floor. If services are needed right after that, you'd go right upstairs to the infusion suite. It also could be drawn right there. We have phlebotomists that are there on the second floor. You know, God forbid something else happened that you needed to have advanced care, we take you right across the street, or you'd have a cadre of doctors that would be available to come and be able to consult on your case and be able to do that. And again, all from one service.
Okay, Doug, this is a workshop session. If you want to speak to the audience, it could be after your presentation, okay?
Okay.
Anybody else on the council have questions?
No, I think it's fantastic. I mean, I've always been happy with Jersey Shore University Hospital. Delivered both of my children there, so I'm happy to see it expanding, and I think it's a great service we provide to this area. And it's one of the wonderful reasons to live in this area.
Thank you. We look forward to taking care of your grandchildren.
Slow down.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks.
Very nice.
Next up for the workshop discussion is marketing of the marina. We have someone here.
Yes.
You just want to state your name to the
I'm
microphone?
Bruce Bench, I don't want to say that.
Excuse me?
I'm Bruce Bench, give me a
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
Oh, yes.
I just want to state that two of our council members are on the Harbor Commission, both Marks. Mark Nevis. Tom, are you on it also?
We have an overlook, right?
We have no,
We're going to be talking about that.
because that could be a quorum, couldn't it?
Correct. So Mr. Levis and I discussed it today, and we'll catch up.
Very good.
I just want to start by saying that John gave a presentation to the Harbor Commission. We've been talking about a lot of marketing for about a year now, and to get something off the ground is the reason why we brought John in. He gave us a good presentation, so I figured, bring him here and let the whole council listen to what he has to say.
Sure.
Well, Mayor, Council, thank you for having me here today. Council, I do. Just want to say thank you for coming here. It's truly an honor to be here helping out Belmar to the best of my ability. My name is John Sabia. I own Social Ties, a local business in town, where we do social media marketing using video to build brands. We utilize Facebook and YouTube to target your demographic and bring people into your business, company, or organization. We put together this proposal, just kind of saying two different options that we could offer the marina to fill the slips. I was talking to Councilor Mark about what's kind of needed, what we need to do, and we had a couple meetings, to filling in the slips for transients and for just in general bringing people to the marina. So if you look at the first page, we're looking to build a social foundation package. With that, we're going to combine YouTube content marketing, Facebook posting, engage your exact demographic. We're going to be able to get those people up in Long Island or down south that come to Belmar and see what we have on hand, such as the Marina Grill or the tennis or whatever else we would have there at the marina. We're going to create optimum visibility while leveraging new social videos. We're going to show you how to get your feet wet and how the social media can benefit your organization through the marina. We're going to use organic search and optimize YouTube page. So for instance, we're going to have a YouTube page where all the videos would go, and now that'll help your Google ranking. So anyone who's looking for marina, boating, fishing, and in the Jersey area, you're going to come up on a Google search. So we're looking to populate that with content that are going to be enjoyed, they're going to be informative, and get more people to come to the marina. So if you look at what we get, Social Ties will shoot and edit 1 3-minute about video. That's going to be interviews that you guys will give to us of people there in the town or in part of the marina that want to get their point across. We're going to showcase everything the marina has to offer, and then put that video up on YouTube and Facebook like stated, And then we're gonna be able to market that, like I said, to your target demographic. So I'm gonna get information from everyone on the Harbor Commission, who we're really targeting, who we wanna bring in, and we can then market directly to them using Facebook marketing techniques. We've been blessed within the past 6 to 7 years, bringing in over 80 million views and over thousands and thousands of engagements to our clients a month. So we're really looking forward to be able to bring that to the marina as well. In addition, we'll create 2 social videos per month. So that can be a how-to video, how to dock your boat. You really want to make yourselves an expert in the space. So when people see the video, they go, oh, where is this? Oh, it's in Belmar. Oh, I want to go here. So we want to infiltrate that space in a way that's not too salesy. It's not too, hey, come here, come here, come here. More along the lines of they want to be a part of our community. One thing I really feel, in my opinion, is that we get more people coming to the marina, that's going to be more people in the downtown, that's going to be people to the beach, and it's going to be more money for everybody, and everyone can eat, and everyone can have a great time in Belmar. So that's 2 social videos a month, and then in addition to that, you have 2 picture posts a month. So you have your videos, informative videos, engaging videos, but you're also going to have a picture post. So this might be something where the gas price is really cheap in Belmar in the harbor, and you take a picture of that of someone holding the gas pump, and it's Jim from the gas pump, and everyone likes Jim, and people want to come down and get that cheap gas. It could be any deals you're having, things like that, or it could be another tip again to get people informed about what's going on in the marina. With that, we include, so a lot of people, they'll post something and they don't market it. So we include every month a $200 marketing budget. That's $40 a post that goes to each post. Then that'll range about 2,000 to 3,500 people will see that post. That's called a reach on Facebook. So out of that, there will be engagements, likes, comments, things like that. But we will be reaching with every post around 2,000, 2,500, 3,000 people per post. And then also, I was remiss to say that this is option 1. So this is kind of what we're going to do to get your feet wet. And just kind of see what works best. We've talked to the Harbor Commission, and data is very important. So in the first 3 to 6 months, I really want to look at what the data is. Who is our target demographic that is looking at our pages? How long are they living there? What are they commenting on and liking? And then we can then now go back and market later to those exact people again and get more repeat business or more people coming in to the harbor.
Hey, John, just quickly, the videos, could you include some testimonials?
Yeah, so perfect, Councilwoman. Yeah, some examples of great videos would be testimonials. So that could be from how they signed up and worked with everyone at the marina to my boat's been safe and I feel secure here in the marina, such as that. So you have that. So basically you're looking at a yearly marketing budget of $2,400. That's direct money, no fees from us. That's what you're generally paying per year to market the marina. And your estimated reach per month is going to be anywhere between 6,700 to 10,500 people reach per month. Also included in this, you can see below, we're going to be optimizing your YouTube and Facebook. We look at everything, make sure it's working smoothly. We're very turnkey. So if you have people on your team who want to work with us, we can. If you want us to teach, we can. And we also like to donate because we love Belmar so much. We have a class. So when you sign up for the year, everyone's welcome to the class and needs to be a part of it, so we can then teach you what you need to do to be more social, and that'll benefit everyone involved. So we're looking at that for a total cost for 1 year, $11,400. That's $950 a month. Now that's our option 1. Option 2, I won't go through the whole entire thing, but option 2 is basically double the fun without double the price. So rather than 2 videos a month, you're going to be getting 4 videos a month. Rather than 2 picture posts, you're getting 4 picture posts. And now is really we can have fun. Now we can do bio videos of everybody. Now we can introduce people that work at the harbor, the marina, sorry. Now we can do more testimonials. Now we can, maybe I want to do something where we showcase a day in the life. So you dock, you get out of the boat, you can go eat, you can go to the Ninth Ave Pier, you can listen to some music, you can go play some tennis, you can go to the free beach. There's a lot of things you can do, and we want to showcase that so people are excited. It's kind of like a hidden treasure, if you will. I mean, people know about the marina. I mean, my family's been here for over 70 years in town, and we know about it, but what do we really know about it? Are we going to play tennis? Not so much. But I think if we showcase people having fun in a not salesy way, we're going to get people to come to the marina. Again, with this package, this one's different, so your total marketing budget now, again, is double, $4,320 for the year. You're going to reach double the people, 16,000 to 24,000. And they'll also be monitoring your Instagram as well. So we'll be teaching your people how to, take Instagram pictures, how to tag them, how to put them out there, so you get more of a reach. And again, you get custom graphics, you get copywriting, you get 3 hours of social media consulting. So again, no one's gonna be left in the dark, everyone's gonna be informed and knowledgeable on how to get social. And then for that, total cost for that, and again, detailed reports, big detailed reports, because we know how important that is to bring in more people to the arena. And again, it's a double everything of the basic plan, but without double the price. So total cost for that for the year is $18,600. That's $1,550 a month. And then we also discussed possible an add-on of a website, which we believe you don't need to spend anywhere near the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a website. I looked at what you had on Belmar.com site, and we just port that over to another site that's cleaner, crisper, more searchable, more informative. The videos can live there, which will now also boost your Google ranking. So that'll benefit us greatly by having a nice, new, crisp site that people will be a part of. Little tiny things. If you want to have a host, you have these videos hosted, make it like a TV show. That's an additional price as well for that. Again, if you want to go robust with Instagram, we can add some more to that, but that's just little things that we can offer you if you so inclined. And that is about it. I mean, again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you everybody for listening to me go on. And anything we can do to really honestly help Belmar. My business has been here for over 8 years. My family's been in town for over 70. And if I can help Belmar in any way, thank you so much. I'd love to do so.
John, hold on, Dan. Anybody have questions?
Anything else?
I was just wondering, so if I go to belmar.com,
Yeah.
whether I live here or in another area, will it be a Facebook icon that I click on and I can get to these? Or can I get from belmar.com to the videos?
So I think that's
So,
probably.
yeah, I would offer that anything that we would decide to do in terms of social media, marketing would have to be integrated with our platforms already.
Okay.
So that we're not recreating the wheel, and that people who come for information on beach badges could just be as likely to see a link to take you to information about the marina.
Okay.
I have a two-part question, probably Colleen.
Yes, sir.
How does this interact with our tourism?
Mhm.
And does the Harbor Commission have a budget, or does the marina have a budget for something like this?
Well, so the timing is interesting. We are formulating the budget now. We'll be bringing the budget forward for introduction on May 15th. So the time is right to discuss including a budget line item for something like this. It could either go through the tourism budget or the Harbor Commission budget itself, but it would be a new item that we would add to either. It's not like we have an existing marketing line for that there. So if council wishes, I could have a further meeting with Mr. Sabia. I could pursue and give you some options from a budgetary perspective. The other thing to consider is how we procure it. So in accordance with local public contracting law, there's a threshold under which how you handle and procure these kinds of items. So that'll come into play as well. So I can lay all those out for you and get your recommendation maybe at the next meeting.
We would have put together specifications, what we're actually looking for.
There's a threshold limit, so typically $17,500 a year, over which you have to do a formal RFP. Under 17.5, you're able to solicit 3 quotes and go with the lowest quote.
There you go.
Okay, so again, it looks like option A is under the threshold, option B is over the threshold, so that may factor into your consideration.
Should this recommendation come from the Harbor Commission to you or to the council?
There's no need, the Harbors Commission is an advisory board, and certainly they can communicate a desire to pursue this, and that's actually happening here tonight, I would assume.
Yeah, the Harbor Commission has met with John already, and John gave us this picture.
Yeah.
Without some of the numbers.
What was the reaction of
I
the?
think the reaction is we definitely need to do marketing.
Oh, yeah.
One thing I want to make sure of, though, is that we are measuring ourselves on the marketing.
Right.
For this price, we would need to fill 4 boat slips to be able to break even on this. So we have to make sure that we have an accurate number of what we want to fill and what our goals are for doing this.
The reason why we're talking about marketing, down the marina because we have a lot of empty boat slips. And I really think that our marina, if we handle the marketing the right way, we actually should have a waiting list.
We should.
And we don't. And so if we start out with some marketing and monitor it to see if the marketing to all these different places is helping us fill those boat slips, I think it'd be a well worth investment to do that. But the key is to the marketing is to try to get transients in and try to get some of the boat slips filled up so we have a waiting list. And that's what we've been talking about probably for the past year.
Right. And I'm sorry, but the only way to know is to try it. That's the only way to know if it's gonna work. You gotta try it and then see what happens.
And I think marketing the marina actually markets the whole town. I mean,
Indeed.
especially if John's doing all this, everything that we have to offer, if they come in as a transient or if they come in as a seasonal boat slip rental, most of it's gonna be for the whole town. I mean, the beach, you can do some marketing on the beach, the playgrounds we have, the tennis courts. And I mean, really, when we talked to them, there was a lot of issues that I didn't even think about, of proximity to tennis courts, playgrounds, McCleary Park, the beach, you know, and you don't think of those things when you're sitting there looking at the marina, you know. And so we do have a lot to offer down there. And I think really, in this day and age, we really should have a waiting list because we have a great marina.
And also, it's the one marina, it's the shortest distance to the ocean, which is huge. I mean, every boater wants to get out and or in as quickly as possible. And that's something that isn't advertised quite often, let's say. It's very appealing.
I don't want to be a wet blanket on this, John. I think it's a great idea. It has to be marketed. But parking. People are going to scream that, well, people are screaming now, there's not enough parking there. If we do a nice marketing program, which I'm sure you will do, encouraging more people to come into the marina, it's just going to exacerbate the parking situation. I know, Colleen, we've looked into a parking garage, but we couldn't get the CAFRA.
Correct. CAFRA was not willing to approve a parking deck in the marina.
So it's great to fill the boat slips, but I think before the people get in the boat slip, they have to drive the car there and then park their car. So it's something we have to fix.
Could I offer, could the marketing plan encourage rideshare and biking, things of that sort? Could be a way to try to help incentivize that.
Yes.
Well, what's really good, if I may, excuse me, is I'm also the marketing branding chair for the BVP. So there's gonna be a lot of partnerships that we'll be able to do with that and see, you know, ears on the street and see what we can do to incorporate businesses in town and how we can, you know, cross promote that. And then also, I think as far as parking, I think maybe 1/3 of our marketing efforts might be put towards people coming in on boats. You know, so it won't be, it will be, of course, more, but I think if we can get people coming in on boats and spending that money,
That would be ideal.
I think that's a great way to go, and you'll get your money back.
Yes.
I think that regardless of the parking situation, we need to have the slips filled, even if we don't have enough parking spaces down there. We need to do every effort we can to get those boat slips filled, because that's revenue that we're leaving on the table. We're not having anyone in there.
Yeah, and I don't want to go past L Street Beach, and I think there's enough parking at McCleary Park for the people that go to the park. I don't want, that field is small enough now. I don't want to take anything away from that field or the pathway that the people in that district use. So any parking would have to be at the marina or on the east side of Highway 35 somehow.
And I don't think it's a huge percentage, but along with ride sharing and bicycles, also promote New Jersey Transit.
Ooh.
Sure.
For many reasons.
Yeah.
The boats, the beach, the restaurants.
It could be an included campaign where we put all that together.
Thank you, John.
Thank you for your time, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the workshop discussion, shade tree. I should know about this because I'm the director of the shade tree, but
This is something we talked about briefly last meeting about this area with flashes. So I wanted to bring it up. If somebody goes through the Shade Tree Commission and they do everything that they're supposed to do, would we change the ordinance to allow some size plaque to be placed? So I asked Colleen to put it on the workshop discussion, to see what everybody thought about that. I know we had the issues last year, but I think it's something that we can really take a look at. If they, somebody goes through the proper procedures and they are told where to place the tree, what kind of tree, and do everything that the shade tree commission would like. We want to promote planting of trees, and I don't see why we couldn't allow them to have like a little memorial plaque or some certain size that we all can agree on.
I agree. I've spoken with Colleen. We could probably, like we do the park benches that are dedicated to a family or some organization, we could do it with trees. Right now I'm seeing the playground at Silver Lake as being an ideal spot to plant some trees because it's in direct sun. And we need to get some shade there. And we were thinking about the shade tree commission deciding the design, the variety of trees, and where they're going to be planted. And then we could, let's say we plant 10 trees around the playground, and then we could offer to families, they could pay us for the tree, and they could use that as a memorial for the tree. We can't have people saying, I want a family tree, but I want it planted over there. That would be, I don't want to give up that to the shade tree. I don't think the people or the public can decide where the tree is going to go. That's going to be the responsibility of the shade tree commission. But a plaque, all for it.
Well, we decided where the benches were gonna go on the boardwalk, and put them there, and then we just let people know that they were available. And it was basically first come, first served, so we would need to let people know if they're really interested in having something like this happen for their family. We would need to give them notice that they would need to come in and do that. And honestly, I love the idea of putting it around the playground, and if it's successful, what's to stop us from not finding other places to put trees and let people put their hands on that too? I think there'd be quite a bit of interest.
Right.
Like this.
If they're put in the right spot, we don't want to turn Silver Lake into a forest.
Right, no, but the shade tree commission.
Properly planted.
Yeah.
And we don't want someone to say, oh, I don't want an oak tree, I want a maple tree.
Right.
Or I want a cherry tree, not a dogwood.
No.
If the tree is there and they want to have a memorial, that's the tree that they get a sign, and they can take care of it. I would love for them to come and take care of it, little garden around it and stuff like that.
Well, that'd be nice. You all right with that? That's a great idea.
I've been doing it for 10 years.
That's a great idea. I love that.
Yeah. But yeah, they would have to go through the shade tree commission.
Yeah.
The shade tree commission would tell them what kind of tree, where it needed to be planted. And as long as they went through all the steps, the issue is getting it black or not. And I think it'd be a great idea.
But I think that still comes from the council. I think
I
that,
think we have to change the ordinance.
So I think there's two distinct issues here. The placement of the tree itself, which is clear within the jurisdiction of the Shade Tree Commission under your ordinance. And then the whole issue like the last time with the memorial plaque,
right,
monument, whatever it might be, that would have to be approved by you guys.
Right.
And so, what I think what I found kind of elegant about Brian's proposal is that it would really marry the two. So Shade Tree could designate on a map where the trees can be placed, will be placed, what kind of tree they are, we'll make sure they're appropriate to the area, and then through one resolution of mayor and council, you could authorize a tree program similar to the bench program. So that leaves the authority governing memorials and dedications with council, and with Shade Tree, the appropriateness of essentially a trial program around the playground at Silver Lake. So I think you're ticking a lot of boxes in doing it that way, while still keeping council authority on the dedication issue, and keeping Shade Tree at what they're good at, which is where does the tree go and what type it is.
yeah. I'd like to try and get that started maybe in the fall, which is a good time to plant some trees.
The ordinance would codify the size of the memorial, the kind of memorial, because you
Yes.
kind of want them all uniform.
Yes,
Right.
Yeah.
we would, we have here tonight actually the lovely woman who ran the bunch program for us. So she's quite well versed in how we
She
do
looks
it.
like April.
Kind of. But we do, we essentially try to make it as straightforward as possible. There's these spots on a map that you could
Yes.
potentially sponsor, dedicate. There's a form you fill out, what the plaque would look like. There's a fee that you pay, and it self-funds itself. And hopefully it's a win for everyone.
Okay, question, Greg, maybe you can answer this. So let's say we get someone to dedicate a tree, they buy it, and the tree dies. I mean, do they lose that, or who's supposed to, let's say they pay $150 for a 10-foot tree, 3-inch diameter to be planted, and after a couple of years, for some reason, it catches disease, dies, who replaces it, or?
The ultimate responsibility, you mean within the borough?
Yeah,
The Shade Tree Commission's in charge of that.
Financially.
The public, the grounds and the trees themselves on borough property are the purview of the Shade Tree.
right, so the family that say has that particular tree, they wouldn't lose their memorial if we replaced it with another one, right? I mean, it would just,
No, I think they're really two distinct things. I mean, legally, I view the tree and the memorial as two separate things, in essence. And that's the way it's legally under your code. Marrying them together, you know, I think works good. I think it would streamline the process, perhaps it was some of the issues we had last time. And, you know, but at the end of the day, it would be really a matter of the Shade Tree Commission's discretion. If they had the budget to go replace the tree, they replace the tree. I can't see calling a grieving family for $150, but I mean, there's no legal route to do it. It's really more of a personal kind of public relations thing, more than legality. You can really do whatever you want.
because the benches don't die, but the trees could, or will. Everyone will, every tree will.
I mean, some nurseries will give you a warranty for a year if it's planted correctly, if it's planted correctly, but I haven't heard of anyone doing more than that.
Okay.
So the only thing we would have to do is put the size of the plaque in the ordinance.
So the dichotomy in the issue is, as we discussed last time, you can have a memorial, but you can't have a cross on it next to someone's name on public property. So the boundaries of the secular monument have to be set by you guys. If it's set in advance and a procedure is put out and it goes through Shade Tree, that's fine, but in terms of you guys having to approve it, the form, substance, and what it is, uniform, all has to be done by you guys, because it's going to be placed on public property, and ultimately you're going to be responsible if some group comes in and
The size.
enforces rights, protection, freedom, that sort of stuff. They're not going to sue the Shade Tree Commission, is my point. So that's why it really has to be an official government act, whether it's set in advance and everyone does the same thing, a standard is set, or you guys approve each one based on its merits. I don't really care how you do it, but that has to come before you. The tree is Shade Tree. Plant trees anywhere you want in town, as long as you comply with the ordinance change.
Colleen, can we get that started?
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Absolutely, and I'm just looking out.
Thank you, Mark. All right. Anything, anybody else for anything on workshop? We have opposed workshop session and petitions. Is there anybody out in the audience that has a petition that you want to bring forward? Seeing none, we'll go to the approval of the minutes.
I move that the minutes of the regular meeting held on April 24th be approved as recorded and that a copy thereof be posted on the borough's website.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, now we move to the reports of council. Mark Levis?
I just want to say that I saw recently in the news that FEMA had announced that they're extending by 3 years, the deadline to complete ICC projects. These are increased costs of compliance projects. You can get up to $30,000 to do flood mitigation projects. It's elevating your home or, say, moving your utilities to a higher location in your home. The deadline was supposed to be October 29th of this year. It's now been moved out another 3 years. I know there's not a lot of people in town who still have to do that, but I know there's at least 2 houses on my block that are still in the process of elevating. It's a great thing that people can take with them. You know, we're in a real flood area in Belmar, so if anybody can take advantage of that, I hope they can. That's all I have today.
Thank you, Mark. Mark?
I just had progress. We had a meeting last week, so I don't have much this week.
Okay. Tom?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This past Saturday was the Art Walk in town, sponsored by the Belmar Arts Council. I was there. My wife has a table set up outside of all the mirrors. There was entertainment, music all up and down the street. Thanks to the weather, it looked like it was a very, very successful event, and looking forward to seeing it happen again next year. And thanks to all who attended our talent show fundraiser last Thursday night at Belmar Elementary School. Very, very successful. Great talent. Some of the kids were, I don't know how those judges decided. I'm glad I didn't have to do it. Some of the kids were really, really quite talented. And thanks to all the merchants who contributed. I sent a letter to the Coast Star thanking them. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Jen?
Yeah, I don't have much. Obviously, please can shop local. I know we're getting into the busier season, but you know, eat out, go to doctors, haircuts, shopping. The other thing is Tuesday, May 8th is the sign up for junior guards. It's an incredible, incredible program. I think it's 9-year-old to 16. And it's the month of July, but it teaches children, I wouldn't say so much swimming, but lifeguarding skills. So again, May 8th, 6 to 7:30 at Taylor Pavilion.
Thank you, Jen. Yeah, I just have 3 items. First, I want to congratulate Belmar's Kevin Woolley. If you read the paper today, page 3, Kevin Woolley had a story about him. Kevin suffers from cerebral palsy, and he is just a great person. Great personality, great sense of humor. And Kevin was named Person of the Year by the Monmouth Ocean Foundation for Children. Even though he's 42 years old, he grew up in Belmar. I knew him well. This Kevin went to Belmar Elementary. He worked on the Belmar Beach for several years, cleaning the beach. And he's been working at Home Depot for the last 20 years. Really, you should go to the press and read his story. He doesn't even have a handicapped license plate. You know, he doesn't. He accepts the fact that he's handicapped, and he just goes with it. It's a great article about Kevin Woolley. Second, our Doughboy statue over here in the park, about a block from here, is going to be removed and taken down next Tuesday. Approximately 10 a.m., 11 a.m. It'll take a couple hours to do it. It's being done by the Seward Johnson Atelier Company in Hamilton, New Jersey. It's part of the Grounds for Sculptures, if you've heard of that. And it should be returned by late July, early August. So if you want to come and watch that statue be removed, because it has to be repaired due to vandalism, maybe a part of the World War I people that first put that up. This project never could have happened without the generous support of the individuals of Belmar, the merchants, different organizations, from the Friendly Sons of Shillelagh. I got a shout out to Pat Roddy for donating his time for the fundraiser at the Shillelagh Club. Special thanks goes to the Belmar Historical Society, especially Spence Hewlett, the president, Pat O'Keefe, secretary, and Naomi Reisner, the past president. Because Belmar's Historical Society raised north of $15,000 for this project to be done. So they really invested a lot of time into it, money into it, and looking forward to the return of a brand new statue in late July, early August.
If I could just add one thing to that, and you can still purchase the bricks. They're really beautiful. You put your family name, you can buy it as a gift, but the Historical Society could always use that money, the donation. Again, your brick is placed at the Doughboy statue. It's beautiful and it'll be there forever. So it's a nice thing to do.
Yes. Third thing, last week I was down in Atlantic City for my first New Jersey Mayor's Conference, and I ran into John Saliga, former councilman here in Belmar, and he introduced me to the Lieutenant Governor. And I was able to express to her our serious concerns of a fixed high bridge across the Shark River on Main Street. I explained to her, and she listened very nicely, that it would hurt tremendously our Main Street for the years that it would take to build it. And after it was built, it would be shutting down 5th Avenue, 6th Avenue, 7th Avenue. So she was listening to it, and I then went over to a member of the DOT, a deputy director, and expressed the same serious concerns about a high fixed bridge. And I came away with the feeling that that's not going to be an option. So we feel pretty good that the DOT will go in a different direction. We'll like that. But that brings us to the bridge itself. If you remember the Highway 35 bridge several years ago when that was built, it took a long time, and I think they actually had to replace the company that started it because they weren't a company that built bridges. So I think we have to get serious with campaigning to our assemblyman, our senator, the state of New Jersey, to make sure that whatever company they select, they have high standards for that company. So, you know, a bridge building company, a company that has experience in building a bridge, so that they can build the best bridge possible in the shortest amount of time possible. I'm sure the 3 years that it's going to take to build the bridge is going to be a real strain on our Main Street here. So we got, you know, we got to get that, and we got to be strong in that. Colleen, I think we have another meeting of the bridge coming into Belmar, right?
June 7th.
June 7th. So June 7th, come to the meeting, like probably at 6 o'clock.
I believe so, yes.
The engineers that build the bridge will be here. We can ask them questions. It'll be more organized than the last meeting. And they're nice people. You know, they build bridges very well. We're running the meeting for them. But again, we have to emphasize, get a good company to build this bridge. That's my report. Thank you. Next moves us to the public session on resolutions, only on the agenda. We will continue to have a public session at the end of the meeting. Do we have anybody in the audience that wants to come up and speak about anything on the resolutions? Seeing none, I'll close that portion of the meeting.
All in favor?
Okay, now to the consent agenda. All matters listed in the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the Borough Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items. If discussion is desired, then that item should have been removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Councilman Walsifer?
Yes.
Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor McGovern?
Yes. To ordinances right now. Okay, first reading and introduction for ordinance 2018-6. This is the ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 25, State Uniform Construction Code Enforcing Agency, section 25-1.4, State Uniform Construction Code fees of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Belmar in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey. Do I have a second? Second.
Second. Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Councilman Walsifer?
This just has to do with the fees, right?
Yes, it's adjusting some fees based on some promulgations at state, basically, so we're adjusting accordingly.
Okay, yes.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Council President Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor McGovern?
Yes. Okay, first reading and introduction. Ordinance 2018-7, the ordinance establishing a ban on single-use plastic bags. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Thought you would.
Councilman Levitt.
I just want to say I'm happy that the enforcement on this isn't for a year. I think it'll be good to give our businesses some time to adjust and get some feedback on this, so we make sure they're doing the right thing. But I vote yes.
Councilman Walsifer.
Yes.
Councilman Brennan.
Yes, I also want to add that Point Pleasant's introducing their own plastic bag ordinance as we speak tonight, so this is a thing. I vote yes.
Council President Nicolay.
Yes, but I hope people don't wait a year. I hope people start getting serious about it quickly. So yes.
Mayor McGovern.
And I'm glad science is starting to get into it. I saw something recently where bags that look like plastic, but they're made out of vegetable, and so it's biodegradable, it's edible. That's a good sign. So maybe we can move away from plastic, from the yucca plant. It's like when you don't like something, you go, yuck. So my answer is yes. Now, to the public session, I'm going to ask you to please come up to the microphone, state your name, give your address, and what we'll do is, if there's a lot of people that want to speak, so we'll give you about 5 minutes. We'll answer your question if we can, listen to your comments, but we won't get into a debate because there's other people that want to get up and speak also. So we can't have someone dominating the microphone when other people in the audience want to speak. So first, probably a gentleman that's already standing and making a move to the microphone.
Thank you very much. My name is Adam Belaski, and I reside, or I have a home at 120 20th Avenue. I want to thank the council for taking the time to hear me tonight and answer some of my emails that you've received today and responded to. Just a little background on myself. My family has been in Belmar since the 1950s. My mother is a permanent resident of 1806 Surf Ave. I've been in that family, like I said, since the 1950s. So about a year and a half ago, my wife and I bought the house at 120 20th Avenue. And we've been with the borough for as long as I've been alive. I was born at Jersey Shore Medical and here today before you to talk about something that has been disturbing to a number of residents within that neighborhood, specifically Surf Ave through 19th Ave and 20th Ave. And it is ordinance number 2017-22. Specifically the change of the one-way streets that are 19th and 20th Ave, changing them in eastbound and westbound directions respectively. So I'm here tonight not to talk to you about the impacts that those would cause. I think you're well aware of the situations from my emails, but I am here to talk to you tonight about the requests from the residents, many of which I've spoken with that couldn't make it tonight because of the short notice. We just found out about this recently. I know it's not on the agenda. I know it was discussed at last week's meeting. And really just to talk to you and ask questions, if I may, of what's prompted this change to the one-way streets in this area, if I may ask a question.
Probably the smartest way to do that is to go to the source, right? Well, we are the final source. But Drew, if you don't mind, you want to explain?
The one-way streets have been a topic of conversation probably for the last two chiefs. Changing them.
Yeah, I hear you.
Does the microphone work?
It does not, I'm sorry.
So the problem with the one-way, back in last year, we changed the one-way streets to year-round. That was changing them back and forth didn't make sense and caused confusion for not so much the residents but non-residents. That was the initial reason for keeping the one-way streets year-round the way they are. 20th Avenue specifically has been an ongoing problem because of the westbound traffic. It's not a through street. It does not go from Ocean Avenue up to Main Street without causing confusion, certainly in the neighborhood. With the one-ways on the side streets, Surf Avenue, B Street, and Cider Avenue, a lot of times we have people go up to one because it's westbound one way. It doesn't go up to Main Street. It causes confusion. People drive around in circles. The other problem we're having down there is that the infrastructure for Belmar was back probably from the 1930s or whatnot, when they actually built the roads. They're not wide enough. The trucks today, if you have a semi-truck go down that road, we have a major problem. And if you live on 20th Avenue, you see that time and time again. It does not go through, you have to turn on B Street, Snyder, or A Street to get out of that area. That's the primary reason why to change 20th Avenue to westbound, to direct route to North Boulevard right up to Main Street, and 19th Avenue eastbound.
So the concerns of the neighborhood is that all of the traffic will then be directed to 20th Ave. I know the streets, have historically been odd number, even numbers. Now you're creating a situation where you can cause confusion, additional traffic on side streets. There's confusion today. I'm not here to argue with that with you. We see people going the wrong way all the time during the summer. We're seeing the traffic, that increases. We see the nighttime traffic when DJs lets out. Our side of town has been inundated with problems from DJs.
No,
it's not just the traffic. You guys know what the problems are. I won't waste everybody's time with that. So my comments are, and I appreciate your opinions and obviously your point of view. You live it. We live it in the summer. We sit on our front porches. We watch it. And we understand the confusion, and we understand that there's been changes in Lake Como. I'm here tonight to just talk to you about the procedures for this change. Changing streets like this isn't something that really can just happen on comments from the chief or comments from the public. It really needs to be studied. My opinion is it should be studied with a traffic impact study by a professional traffic engineer. This is very similar to what would be done if a developer came in with an application. There's a procedure set in place. I'm sure your solicitor can tell you that that's put in place because it's an expert testimony is provided and a report is provided, which not only provides takes into account obviously your comments, but looks at the traffic that will be generated, the unintended consequences that can occur when things change. It might solve one problem, it might create a bigger problem. So our concern is that this just be done properly. And I'm not saying that anything has been done improperly, it's just that there should be a procedure set in place and there should be some public comment to it. I know that things have been advertised, things have been on the agenda. It's been tough for us to follow it because it's listed as an ordinance. It's not specific to the changing of one-way streets. Maybe it has, I haven't read every agenda. But I would just encourage you to have more of an open public forum on this and to consult with your township engineer. Major Engineering has a great traffic engineering department. I'm sure they'll take care of this for you. As the residents and the people that I'm representing tonight, we would like the option or the ability to sit at the table with your traffic consultant to talk about those things, what will be studied, and things of that nature. Beyond just changing one way, there are other alternatives. There's enhanced signage. There's different things that you can do with education. I know there's been comments, and I don't know specifically about Uber drivers and taxi drivers leaving DJs at night. Those things can be addressed through those mechanisms. They can be petitioned to change the way their routing goes to avoid certain streets at night. I know at night sometimes during the summer that there is signage put up or the blocking of 19th Ave, so we stop people from coming down. I believe you were doing that last
That was
summer.
one of the things that we were trying to see what would work and what wouldn't work. We didn't just do that at nighttime. We actually tried it in the daytime a few times to see if we can alleviate traffic and confusion. And I understand what you're saying about the study. The problem is, every time we do a traffic change, stop signs we're putting up. We've been discussing it for years. We didn't get a study on that. We know the roads. I've consulted with my staff to try to alleviate the problems that we're having down there. It's not a fix-all. Is it going to put more traffic on 20th Avenue? It very well may be, especially at nighttime and sometimes during the daytime. But it's going to hopefully fix the problems for the majority down in that area.
So I would respectfully, and I don't want to debate this tonight because everybody here wants to have their say, but I think that's a debate that needs to happen with the stakeholders. And the stakeholders are the property owners within the neighborhoods that have the impact on them. And I respect your opinions and I'm not disputing them. It's just, I think this is a bigger item than just making a decision on an ordinance. I know it's not up for a vote, but I would encourage you to look at this, to study this during a traffic study that's done by a developer coming in the municipality, or even the hospital can't connect two buildings because they need to do a traffic study and get it approved by DOT. All we're asking for is a traffic study to be done here. The analysis needs to be done during the peak hour. That's standard practice for any traffic engineering study. The peak hours are during the summer months. We would encourage you to do a traffic study during this summer to understand what the issues are. I know you know them and you probably know them better than anybody. You should have a seat at the table with the traffic consultant that's going to do the study to make sure that everything that you're concerned with is addressed. That way a study is done, the unintended consequences are analyzed, and the impacts are mitigated.
Thank you. Thank you. Greg, does a traffic study have to be done, or can the Belmar Police, after studying the situation?
You mean as a legal matter?
Yes, legally.
No, a traffic study isn't required. I mean, you guys have full control over your streets and thoroughfares, including the side, all your rights of way. So a traffic study isn't a prerequisite, as it would be in development context. But what information you guys use to make decisions is obviously up to you. But there's no prerequisite requirement for a traffic study legally.
So the police, the Belmar Police Department can, after studying this situation, change the traffic pattern.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can change the traffic pattern with or without the.
Okay, I mean, he doesn't, I mean, the police department would recommend to us that when we would vote on that in an ordinance, correct?
That's exactly what happened.
Correct, and so if I could offer to the council, because I know there's been a lot of back and forth, and you guys have gotten a lot of input from members of the public. Just to clarify, this is an ordinance that is in effect. It was voted on and adopted back in October. We held off on implementing it in light of the disturbance that we knew we were going to cause with the Lake Como Pipe project. We knew we were going to create detours. We didn't want to make it more stressful for the residents. What we suggest and we've talked about is, at the mayor's suggestion, holding a community meeting specifically for the residents of 20th Avenue and 19th Avenue, because there is confusion. We passed an ordinance, I had proper public hearing and a stop period, proper publication, and then we held off because we wanted to make sure we weren't exacerbating a stressful situation with the traffic down there with the detours. So now that spring has come and the pipe is getting done, it's time to revisit the issue. We certainly had no intentions of just implementing that ordinance and making it active without any kind of notice. I think our conversation about the stop signs last week kind of triggered the issue, very understandably. So the mayor suggested that we have a community discussion with again, the residents who are going to be most impacted, and that's 19th Avenue and 20th Avenue. So that currently is the intention.
All right, when do we want to have that community meeting?
I would suggest that I'd like to give people at least a week's notice.
Okay.
But not wait too long, because Memorial Day is coming and the pipe project is wrapping up. So if it's agreeable to all of you, I can look at some dates for about a week out and notify the neighbors.
If I may, I would suggest a week just isn't enough notice. You have a lot of residents there, you have a lot of people that have summer homes here. Getting everybody to a meeting on a week's notice is an undue hardship on the residents. I'd also ask that if you clarified that the ordinance that I understand that was passed, which is on the website, has the streets stricken that are in question at 19th and 20th. And it does say in the beginning of them that it was stricken. So is it a clarification that they were
I'm not sure
stricken?
what actually the ordinance, I wrote them all, so there's 3 ordinances on this.
So that's the ordinance, this is what is stricken.
What is the title?
The published ordinance online was not updated.
Yeah, this eliminated them from through streets. Right, they'd be one ways.
Okay.
So this is not the correct
I can make sure it's
No, this is it. This is the ordinance. They're stricken, they're added, because there's multiple sections where the streets are classified as through streets, stop streets, one ways. So they were classified as one thing. So the crossing out is taking them out of that and then putting them into one way. Follow me? Because they wouldn't be, they were designated as the year round. Sorry, the season.
I know it might be difficult just 1 week, but the summer is coming. If we go 2 weeks, we're into the start of our seafood festival, and if anyone's getting impacted, it's that Silver Lake area. And if we wait 2 weeks, we wouldn't be able to we should talk about it, the community meeting, before we have our next borough meeting.
I agree.
So I know it might be difficult for you people, but if it's certainly important to you, let's choose a time for next week.
Okay. I'll take a look at the calendar and I'll circulate some dates.
Yeah, simply because summer is coming, it's not going to stop, and after the seafood festival, we got the Memorial Day weekend coming, so we got to get going on this.
We understand, and again, I would urge you not to try to quickly enact this before the summer, before it was studied during the summer months.
Okay.
And then my last thing is, how will we be notified of the meeting? We're talking about a meeting next week.
Probably the robocall?
Yeah, I could do a robocall, or we can do actually door-to-door on the.
Let's do both.
Okay.
What about on your website?
Sure. Three ways. Website, robocall, and, yeah, knock on the door.
And I would appreciate, since I'm here representing a group of people, if somebody from the council could send me an email. You all have my email address. I would appreciate that. That way we could.
Could you give your email address to
I certainly
the clerk right now? So anyone else that comes up, make your comments, but I'm not going to have the chief get up and explain the same thing over and over again. Okay? If it's something, I'll call you.
Thanks.
If it's something new that I feel as if I need to go to the chief, fine, but he has stated why he is suggesting this change, and we'll go from there. Sir, you want to name and...
Joseph Shell, 217 19th Avenue. I'm not going to just talk about 20th Avenue. I think the implication is for the entirety of the neighborhood. We have a problem at A Street on the cross street, which is going to shunt everything over to 17th. So we have to go across both 18th Avenue and then get to 17th Avenue, and then loop back up and cross 18th Avenue again in order to access our homes. And it is so perverse for some of the people who live on the lake. They have to do that when their driveway is only 150 feet off of North Boulevard. So you're actually shunting all this traffic into main thoroughfares and across them, which is going to pose a bigger problem. Now, if you understand that what I'm talking about, we have two options to access our house. That is 18th Avenue, which is illegal egress, as the chief alluded to, because it's a 26-foot wide, two-car parking side, one side on the weekends. So you've got 20 feet left, you're 28 feet, so you're still within the not quite a perfect right of way. Or what I just told you, A Street to loop back up, and anybody who lives on that section of 19th, that's a long ride. It's 4/10 of a mile. So the question is, do you want to have 4/10 of a mile worth of extra traffic onto already busy roads and serve the people that are renting or coming out for the summer, as opposed to people who live there 365 days of the year for 40 days? 70 days if we have 70 days of perfect beach weather, but we don't usually have that. 1/6 of a year, this is a drastic. I understand the chief also talked about access for 80,000-pound trucks or greater semis. I build in the area. I've had Jaeger trucks come in there and deliver. Not a problem. That's anecdotal, but thank you.
I'm sorry, can I
Yes.
get your name and email number, please? Or email address, so that we can get that.
Mr. Byro?
Thank you, sir. And the mic is broken still?
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
Well, I shouldn't say broken. It never worked.
That's permanently broken.
We moved into this building in 1986, and it hasn't worked. So-
Happy to assist. Peter Pyro, North Boulevard, Belmar, New Jersey. The chief and I have debated in the past, he's the nicest guy in the world, about whether or not a traffic study should be done for this particular change of traffic pattern. The gentleman who spoke before, two people before me, spoke very eloquently about why a traffic study is necessary. In addition to that long argument, the state of New Jersey, when they looked at 9th Avenue west of D Street, and I sent a copy of this to each of you, the state of New Jersey Department of Transportation, when they were looking at this, and I argued, or this debated with Tom Brennan ad nauseum at the Doughboy event, they said a traffic study should be done. I made the same argument. Brian, you were present at Lake Como when I made the same request. And I get demeaned by the chief who says he doesn't want a traffic study. Please, reconsider a traffic study for this. You're messing up the traffic. And then one argument that I made at the last meeting. I said, you're jamming up us on pedestrian and bicycle race days. One of your comments was, well, other people are jammed up in the same fashion. But you're newly jamming us up. We don't need to get a new jam up. That's an additional jam up of the traffic escape from our end of town. When you make 19th Avenue an eastbound only street. It's a new jam up. You're creating a safety pattern. And Brian, you were present when the fire chief in Lake Como, they called him the fire chief of South Belmar. They didn't try to change the name of it.
No, because they were the South Belmar Fire Department, and the town changed the name, but the fire department
Right.
was independent.
You were present when he said it was a safety pattern for his trucks, if that road was switched the other way around. Would you agree you were there when he said that?
I remember him.
And then the chief and he got into a debate, and the fire chief was unceremoniously suggested to the department, he's making too much noise. But again, these are things that I suggest be considered. Obviously, we have a strong interest in making this argument to you, but please, we're trying to be reasonable about this, but this is not fair to our end of town. Please, thank you very much.
Sir.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Gavin O'Day, 1903 Snyder Avenue. I would echo Mr. Shad's comments that for my family to get to our house, we're going to run through the exact same hurdles and challenges, and I can't imagine having to do that in the middle of summer for us just to get back to our house. Changing topics. Some very positive observations, I think, that I wanted to just mention in town. Belmar Lifeguard's presence on Instagram. I'm a big Instagram person, and I love to see what they post every day. I think that's great. I think it'll be great to see that in the summer when we're all stuck in our offices and see what's going down. Continuing work on the new outfall pipe at Lake Como to help mitigate flooding. It's great to see this coming to fruition. I can remember being back here in meetings with Matt and Mazer. I really think it's going to put a lot of people at ease to understand that that work has been done, especially during the upcoming hurricane season.
I'd just like to add to that cost over $6 million. Governor Christie was the one that got us that money.
And we all wrote
wouldn't have been able
letters
to afford it.
per Matt's direction, and I think it was very impactful,
Yeah.
and we're thrilled to see that. The installation of a crushed ash path along Lake Como, which addresses a major safety concern for the people walking to and from the beach. If you go down there during summer, everyone is walking in the street.
Yeah.
So to see that finally come to fruition, I think that's something I talked to Tom Burke about years ago, is also excellent. A couple things I'd like to see done in the south end, the return of garbage cans along Lake Como. Years back, we used to have these big metal containers, and in those would be barrels. They disappeared for the last couple of years, and instead the blue beach barrels were stuck there. Looks really out of place, especially given all the hard work that's been done to improve the look of our area of Lake Como. I'd love to see the installation of a flagpole at the triangle along Lake Como between A and Snyder. This flagpole went down with Sandy, and I came up here probably years ago and asked, it would be great to see this thing put back up again. So, again, switching gears, I've come to the council a number of times in the past to talk about seasonal liquor licenses. Living in the south end of town, like many people here that are talking about the traffic, we bear a great deal of burden as it relates to these licenses. This was the best parade day I can remember, with no DJs in operation, PK Shamrocks under new ownership with a different format, and Patty Mac's closed. I mean, it was night and day from the last few parade days, so that was great to see. The current state of affairs with the bill moving forward in Trenton to convert all seasonal licenses to year-round is really a representation of all that's wrong with the state of New Jersey. It's why we're the butt of people's jokes and the stigma of pay-to-play and political influence and the people not being served. It's all about special interests. And you can see that in the media just in the last couple of weeks. You've got Senator Menendez being formally rebuked by a bipartisan group of 3 senators, 3 Democrats and 3 Republicans. You've got Governor Christie, who are now hearing he spent $15 million to defend against Bridgegate as he ponders his $85,000 portrait that's going to be paid by the taxpayers. But when you read all this and you see what's going on with this bill, it just burns your blood, because it's all that's wrong. And the people that lose are the tax-paying, hard-working families in New Jersey. I believe there are currently 8 seasonal licenses in New Jersey, falling in Monmouth County. In Belmar, we have 3, one held in pocket by Capalco, so I don't know what his plans are, I'm not sure if you've heard. The second, DJ's active seasonal license at 1801 Ocean Avenue. This is a grandfathered, non-conforming use in the midst of a residential neighborhood. And third, DJ's also owns a second license held in pocket by their LLC. Again, plans to be determined with that license. Here's what makes DJ's different than everyone else that owns a seasonal license. If you think about the facilities in the other towns, their restaurants, their bars, DJ's is, among all things, a nightclub. They call themselves the original Jersey Shore Dance Club. We all know they're there. Those of us that are new in the neighborhood, I've been here for 21 years, we knew they were there when we moved in. We accept it. They are who they are. No one debates their right to exist. But their right to expand is going to have a big impact on our neighborhood. It's also going to have a big impact on your tax rateables when people's property values go down because of this. Trust me, it's going to happen. Their indoor occupancy capacity, I think, is about 750, and I don't think that includes the outside backyard or the front porch. They're the epicenter of our police blotter activity. There's no denying it. So I know that some of you might say, hey, they're not going to be able to do that same sort of thing in the winter and the off-season, but really I would ask you to think again. Facebook, they have over 25,000 followers. Instagram, 19,000 followers. Twitter, 8,500 followers. This brand of DJs has such drawing power that during the last off-season, they ran events in the fall at Harrah's for the Fall Classic, at Birch and Hoboken for the Snowball Christmas Spectacular.
Okay, sir, I don't want to hear about Atlantic City. Let's talk about Belmar.
Okay. Well, my point is, if there's a comment that says they're not going to draw these crowds, I think we all need to reconsider the power of that brand to draw people year-round. I also would like everyone to contemplate the idea of their patrons who typically would walk back to rental properties after partying, of getting in cars and driving back north, because they are not going to be renting places during the winter. As mayor and council, you preside over a town with 3 of the 8 seasonal licenses. If you reach out to the legislators pushing these bills, your voice should have impact. Back in 2004, when DJs went before the zoning board seeking to transfer the year-round license they had at the time from the Barclay to their operation at 1801 Ocean, there was an outcry against it from the community. The room was packed, and ultimately DJs withdrew their application. If this bill in Trenton is to pass, the residents of the South End will once again organize against this and pursue any means possible. Again, we all understand that they are a seasonal operation, and we all knew that with eyes wide open. So given the potential implications for Belmar with this bill, I would assume you've all read it and would pose the following questions. Does the bill, if it becomes state law, override the zoning protections we have here in place in Belmar? Meaning that if this becomes state law, will DJ's operation immediately be converted to a year-round liquor license, or would they still have to go to the zoning board for application and review? And then theoretically, what does this mean for Ocean Avenue? If this becomes state law, could these licenses theoretically move to the east side of Ocean Avenue?
I don't have all those answers. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Back up. Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, okay.
Okay, thanks. Hi there. My name's Anne Marie Duvanovich. I live at 605 11th Avenue. My question is really asking your position. I haven't read anything yet about this, but my concern is an issue that the governor ran on, which is legalizing marijuana sales throughout the state. And I know that it's not been enacted as a law or anything yet, but I have heard of other towns in the area that have already passed ordinances or similar laws prohibiting marijuana sales or dispensing marijuana within their limits. So my question is, do you have a position on it yet? Is this something that you're going to talk about?
We have not discussed it in council. I mentioned earlier that I was down in Atlantic City last week, the mayor's conference. It was discussed down there. Some of the mayors were back and forth. Some of them brought up a very interesting point. Marijuana is unlawful on the federal level.
Correct.
Would be lawful on the state level. So any company, any businesses that would want to open up and need to borrow money, they won't be able to get it from federal banks, and there is not a state bank.
Right.
So that's one of the things that's going to take a while for it to get addressed in New Jersey, but we have not spoken about this. And they're listening to some of the mayors, some were pro, some were con, but Belmar has not spoken about it.
Okay.
If I could add that, it's also really hard to understand what the implications on zoning would be until they present an actual bill. It's really hard to even understand how the municipality would regulate or have good avenues to regulate if they wanted to.
Okay.
I've had this impression in every town, in 3 other towns, including Red Bank, which would likely be a target for people to put a dispensary in, just given the
I
culture
would think
there.
Asbury Park also.
Yeah, Asbury Park, those kind of artsier areas, typically where they've been. And so the answer that I've been getting as a borough attorney is it's really impossible for me to tell you what they could or couldn't do. It depends on how it's passed, how it is, what powers it gives the municipality for zoning, and who's going to regulate it. Is the ABC going to regulate it? Is it going to be a local regulation? So it's really hard to answer your question until they actually put a bill on the table. And then you can see the actual language of what the municipality can do. They may prevent the municipalities from, zoning ordinances from doing anything about it. We might have no power.
It could be, but, you know, there are towns that have already put ordinances in place, so those aren't
It's not clear.
close
My
to
point
that.
too is it's not clear. And none of the towns that I've been have done it because I pointed out that you can pass an ordinance,
Right.
but the state law
You
is
don't know.
going, is,
Right.
we can preempt it. You really don't notice, you know,
Right.
pay me to spend a lot of time to write an ordinance that might not be valid. If you want me to make a statement, I'm happy to do that.
Right.
They haven't seen fit to charge me with that yet.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
My one other question, issue, I know the chief left, but my question really is just about a concern that I've noticed the year and a half that I've been living here. And, you know, there's a lot of littering by our visitors and unfortunately by full-time residents as well throughout the town and especially up on the beach. And there's also a lot of speeders. And I don't frequently see the police ever issue a summons or a ticket for littering, and I very rarely have seen a police officer stop with a vehicle. So it's just my, if I could put forth to you, and then also encourage the police chief to help shape the behavior of all visitors, especially to the town as things are gearing up for the summer, that, you know, to shape the behavior, maybe issuing some tickets to litterers as well as to speeders more often, and to have that kind of presence as well, without being unwelcoming to our visitors and all of that, and realizing, you know, that it's a balance, but that littering and cleaning up the beach and speeding and all that stuff impacts everybody.
All I know is if you come down here during the court day, during the summer, you will see this room crowded, the lobby crowded, so.
Well, I'm sure of that. I don't doubt that.
There are, someone's issuing those summonses, and it's our police department. And, you know, I truly believe our police department is doing all that they can. And I'm going to turn it over to Mark. How did you see writing summonses for when you were a policeman? You're busy.
Yeah, we're always busy, but you got to understand one thing that, you know, there's probably speeders up 35 hours right now. That
Oh,
we
absolutely.
couldn't catch everybody, and with the patrol units that we've always had on the road, and between answering first aid calls or all different type of calls that we would have to answer, you know, there's very little time put into
Yes, I
speeding
understand.
enforcement.
Right.
But of course, every time that we saw it, there is a lot of speeding tickets issued.
Okay, all
And
right.
it's just one of those things that, you know, you see it, you know, you can have
No, I know.
10,000 cars
Right.
go down the street, you get 2 of them flying down and, you know.
Right.
Yeah,
Look
the
at these
residents,
crazies.
yeah,
Thanks.
so, but they, you know, they do a great job.
Oh, I know they do, I'm not complaining, I'm just
They could write
encouraging
more
and shaping their
if,
behavior. If there were
like,
only
write as
more
many as they can.
officers, and right, I know. Thanks.
Thank you. Pat?
Evening, Council. To change the subject, first I'd like to thank my neighbors in the south end for our problems that we have. But I'd like to address something also that I believe is going to impact us and impact the town, and this is the project that you're proposing to do here. Has there been any study? You talked last week, Brian, about changing, the town needs to change. You remember, I moved here about 40 years ago, and it was a great beach town. Tom, you talked about the plastic bags in the environment. This project would really impact the environment. Pollution would be amazing. You're adding another 200, 300 cars. If you look at the towers on 35, you look at there's 100 and some odd apartments there. Now you're going to double that here, 206 units. It's going to be an impact on an infrastructure that's already strained. Our police department, our fire department, excuse me, allergies now that it's warm. It's going to be an impact on the schools. And I would like to know if you can get a meeting of builders. We have a builder right here, Joe Shad, he's a builder, a developer, yes, you mentioned Pep, and policemen, firemen, and sit down and see what we can do. We need a new building, but Brian, you can gut this place. You can go up 2 stories. You can have a big police department. It would be bigger than the one that Brandywine's proposing. You can go up, you can have your offices. There was a woman who came here, I believe it was last year, who talked about, she had a client who would build a parking garage. We can do that without getting involved in this impact. And I want to know why it's being pushed. What's the rush? And we found out that nothing is free in this town. It comes at a cost. And I'm concerned about the cost. We have no control over the rentals. And this company has a reputation of staying, getting their money, and then they sell off. And we'll have no control over the rentals. I'd like you to consider, please, stopping this now. Let's all sit down and discuss it. And let's do it the right way and save the taxpayers a lot of money.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
George?
I heard that.
George Comacasa, 111 3rd Avenue.
You got dressed up?
I was on a fire call.
Oh, okay.
The Kevin Woolley, I was lucky enough to be there when he got the award.
Of course.
There's also a small film about him, like a 4-minute film,
Yeah.
that's, you guys should Google it, whatever you do.
I've watched it more than once. Yeah.
I mean,
Kevin's
people
great.
realize the kid is just special. His brother used to be in the fire company, and he used to come to our fire meetings. He used to come to our restaurant, just a...
You know what was special with Kevin is his neighbor was Brian Corey. And Brian Corey probably, at that age, was the best athlete in town. And Brian Corey's best friend was Kevin Woolley. So that was such an advantage for Kevin to get to be in the crowd with the other good athletes. And I mean, everyone was terrific with Kevin, and Kevin was terrific with them, and he's just a wonderful kid.
Not to jump on.
Thanks to Brian Corey, who didn't, I don't want to be with this, someone with cerebral palsy.
Not to jump on George's time, but if the council so desires, we could certainly see if he could come to a future meeting of Mayor and Council proclamation.
I thought we didn't give it one to Kevin, huh? We should, we really should.
So if you'd like, I can look into it.
All right, I'll go to Home Depot and go into the hardware area.
We'll get that moving, we'll show them.
Oh, that'd be
Another
great.
thing is, again, Friday, so big autism benefit at DJ's opening day, so $10 tickets. You can buy them at the door, I ran out. Thank you.
I will be at my granddaughter's first communion.
I'll buy a ticket for you.
So. Anybody else in the audience?
Good evening, everybody. Maureen Dean, 16th Avenue. Congratulations, Councilor Levis.
Thank you, Marty.
Congratulations, Brian.
Thank you.
I touched base with Drew before he left. Years ago, there used to be a white circle in the center of Ocean Avenue, 16th Avenue, 13th Avenue, several different streets we had in town. And within that circle was a police safety officer directing traffic. We have had people subsequently at different times, but as an example today, a lot of traffic because the sun is out, it's gorgeous. The rest of the week is going to be really heavy traffic, I'm sure. But it's a safety issue, and I was wondering first if we could get the county, because it's a county road, to pay for the police officer to be there, or special, for 8 hours. Because on my street, 16th Avenue, it's sorely needed. It's extremely dangerous. Drew said we can't ask the county to pay for that because we have the beach. Okay. He's going to get in touch and see whether he can do something. But I thought I would bring it to your attention. It's really so important. And that white circle helps a tremendous amount. People know to stop. They really do.
Yeah, I believe, yeah, the expense of a special directing traffic would be borne on us.
Yeah.
But the county would approve, I wouldn't see why they would say no to painting a circle on their road, but, you know, for safety.
I can ask.
We can ask.
And maybe on a couple of the other streets then too, while we're at it, Colleen, if you could. 13th was busy, now 7th is really busy.
Yeah.
So kids going back and forth.
Yes.
Okay, and I also wanted to make mention of proceeding further with the Brandywine project. I do have a concern about how many units there's going to be. I do have a concern about waiting until we get money back from FEMA before we go through any more pilot projects. I would like you to really consider that before we go further, okay?
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I make a motion to close the public portion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.